to the next installment in my video lecture series in economics. And in this particular video lecture, I'm going to be taking a look at government failure, in particular the imposition of a price floor, and taking a look at what types of inefficiencies come about because of that. So if we're starting here at a market in equilibrium for whatever this product happens to be, so we have our some upward sloping supply curve, our downward sloping demand curve, and the equilibrium is an equilibrium price of 1,000 units and a quantity of 200 units sold. Let's say for some reason the government decides that this price is too low. Maybe, for example, like agricultural price supports, those types of things, and decides that these producers deserve a higher price for this particular product. And let's say they decide $1,200, $1,200 is the best. So if we follow that to the demand curve and go straight down, that gives us quantity demanded. If we continue across the supply and straight down, that gives us quantity supplied, which is equal to 300. So at this price, at the price floor, people want to purchase 100, but the firms want to sell 300. So how is the government going to maintain this price floor in the presence of this surplus? So we have this price floor. We don't want the price to go any lower than that. It's illegal for it to go any lower, but we have this surplus. Well, the government's going to have to buy the surplus. The difference between the quantity supplied 300 and the quantity demanded 100. So let's see what the imposition of this $1,200 price floor does. I want you to keep an eye on this rectangle and this triangle. First, that gets converted to producer surplus, right? Raising the price will benefit the sellers, but to the detriment of the buyers. So for those 100 units that are actually being purchased, they were beforehand, individuals were paying $1,000 for those. Now they're paying $200. So that $200 difference in the price gets transferred to producer surplus in the form of that higher price. So the suppliers are made worse off, but the consumers are, the producers are made better off, and the consumers are made worse off. Same thing for this green, the blue triangle right there. That it is was once consumer surplus that has now been converted to producer surplus. So all we've done here is just transfer wealth from the buyers of the products to the sellers of that product. Now, if we continue on, we will see that these two triangles now are shaded in, because remember, what is the area of producer surplus? It's the area below the price but above the supply curve. So the triangle that's created by that new price in the original supply curve is the producer surplus. So what we can do is, by taking a look at these two triangles, these are surplus that was created that didn't exist before. This rectangle and this triangle, all it did was switch from producer surplus to consumer surplus. This triangle and this triangle are new surplus. That's producer surplus that has been created that wasn't consumer producer surplus previously. So this is the impact on welfare of this policy, the increase in total surplus. So what we want to do is take a look at how much the government is paying out in order to generate this additional producer surplus. As I told you previously, they're going to have to purchase the surplus, in this instance 200, at that price of 1,200. So what we have is we have two right triangles here. So the expenditures are going to be 200 times 1,200. So $200 times 1,200 units is $240,000. The total surplus created is this triangle and that triangle added together, which is $20,000. So instituting this policy, the government is spending $240,000 in expenditures in order to generate $20,000 of additional surplus. Now, I don't know about you, but spending $240,000 to generate $20,000 is not a very efficient way of doing things. It would have been much more efficient if the government just stepped in and paid these producers $20,000 during this time period. They would have increased their producer surplus by 20,000 units. They would have not made the consumers worse off. and they wouldn't have had to spend $240,000 to generate that $20,000. So this is, hopefully you can understand what this is illustrating here. That this was a policy that was decided to enact, and the cost of it's $240,000 and the benefits $20,000. So instead of engaging in this policy, just cut a check to the producers for $20,000. You'll get the same exact outcome, and you'll save $220,000 in the process.